The forest called to her, whispers dancing among ancient leaves. Alia stepped lightly over gnarled roots, her inquisitive brown eyes searching ahead through emerald shadows. The Glimmerwood was magical. Everyone in Raelendria knew, yet few dared venture in so deep. But curiosity had always been a close companion to Alia, gripping her heart tight, leading her down paths long forgotten. She hummed softly as her fingers brushed against the bark of a towering silver oak, a faint melody filled with questions of wonder and hints of secrets beckoning from just beyond her reach. The villagers had always whispered of the Glimmerwood holding untold enchantments, and today, on her 18th birthday, she needed to see for herself. Alia pushed her way through a curtain of ivy, her breath catching as she stepped into a secluded grove bathed in gentle golden sunlight. There, at the grove's heart, the ancient loom awaited her. Radiating with an ethereal glow, threads of glistening light drifted lazily in the air, warm and inviting. Her eyes widened, breath shallow with awe. "What manner of sorcery is this?" she murmured, stepping closer, heart racing. "Not sorcery," came a gentle voice from behind her. Alia spun around, startled as an elderly woman emerged from the shadows, eyes sparkling kindly. "It's a craft more ancient than the oldest memories of this land, dear child. You've claimed it today by stepping here. This loom now claims you." "Claims me? Who are you?" Alia asked, her voice thick with astonishment and a tinge of fear. The elderly woman smiled, kindly and mysteriously. "There will be answers, Alia of Raelendria, but first, you must listen. The loom before you controls the threads of time itself. Handle it wisely, gently. Any alteration comes with consequences unknown." Heart pounding, but curiosity stronger than ever, Alia reached out, fingers grazing the delicate wood of the loom. She felt a tingling warmth flood her fingertips, swirling up her arm as if binding her soul to the ancient device. "Beware," the old woman said softly, her voice trailing off as she stepped back into the whispering shadows, vanishing like smoke. "Time is both your gift and your curse." Left alone in the silence, with wonder and trepidation mingled together, Alia stared at the loom, resolve forming inside her chest. She would uncover its secrets, understand this power, and control it carefully. Yet deep within the weave of the fibers, unseen by her eyes, a single shimmering thread frayed slowly at the edges, unraveling bit by delicate bit as destiny watched and waited, poised for the first stitch in history to change. Days passed like whispers, as Alia secretly experimented with the Chrono Loom hidden safely within the Glimmerwood, each woven thread a probing question into time's mysterious tapestry. At first, the changes seemed innocent. A wilted flower restored gently to bloom, a chipped clay pot suddenly whole again, seemingly harmless rearrangements within the gentle borders of the past. Yet, each gentle shift tugged something deeper. A growing unease within her stomach reminded her of the mysterious woman's warning. What price might the alteration of a single thread bear? Her answer arrived with a chilling wind blowing from the west on a quiet evening. Racing to the edge of Glimmerwood in alarm, she saw in horror the village of Raelend ablaze. Panic surged like ice in her veins, her heart pounding desperately in her chest as she ran towards the unfamiliar devastation. In the village square, townspeople scrambled drunkenly through smoke and flame, confusion etched in their frightened faces. "Kaelin! Mother!" she shouted, searching frantically among the chaos. A hand reached out, gripping her arm and pulling her firmly aside. She looked up into the soot-smeared face of young Tomlin, eyes wide and frantic. "Alia, praise the ancestors, you're safe! We've lost control of everything," Tomlin shouted over the crackling flames and sobs of frightened villagers. "It started suddenly, and we can't find a way to stop it." This is because of me," she whispered, guilt heavy in her voice. Tomlin shook his head hurriedly. "No, this must be magic from elsewhere." "You don't understand," she insisted, her heart breaking with guilt and fear. "I tried to fix simple things, in the loom, and—" His eyes widened in alarm. "You tampered with time? That's an ancient magic no mortal should touch lightly." "I must fix this," she said determinedly, steeling herself as she pulled free of his grasp. I'll undo everything. I promise." "But how?" he called desperately as she sprinted away into the darkness. "I don't know yet," she replied, choking back rising fear. She plunged again into the Glimmerwood shadows, weaving through branches and undergrowth toward the loom, Her heart raced, dread heavy and urgent, as urgency propelled her back to the very tool she feared she'd misused. But upon reaching the secluded grove, she gasped. A shimmering barrier of magic prevented her from even approaching the loom. "You have made careless stitches, Weaver." A low, resonating voice emerged from the shadows. A figure appeared then, cloaked in luminous robes, eyes glittering fiercely. "Time itself has fractures, and until you learn the weight of each thread, until you truly understand, the loom will remain closed." "Teach me then, please," she implored desperately. "My village is burning. Innocent lives hang in the balance." The mysterious figure studied her closely, appraising her sincerity before finally speaking again, voice softer but filled with tension. "Come with me, Alia. Your training begins with facing truths deeper than you've ever known." With no hesitation left in her soul, she nodded, heart heavy yet hopeful. She'd unknowingly started this chaos, and now a challenging road ahead waited, weaving wisdom into prideful curiosity so that she might mend everything she'd broken. Alia followed silently behind the mysterious figure through a hidden path deeper into the heart of the Glimmerwood, her thoughts swirling in chaotic patterns of worry and regret. Every step weighed heavy, each heartbeat reminding her of the turmoil she'd unintentionally brought down upon those she loved. "Who are you?" she finally asked, voice barely above a whisper, her courage woven into the tremble of each word. The figure paused beneath a canopy of softly shimmering leaves, pulling back his hood to reveal ageless features etched with wisdom and understanding. His silver hair gleamed softly, and his pale blue eyes held both kindness and deep pain. "I am Seelan, keeper of the weave," he said softly, offering a reassuring smile. "The weave?" Alia questioned, eyes wide with uncertainty. "All things that are and ever were exist within the tapestry of time. It's woven carefully, meticulously. My kind guard its delicate balance." Seelan paused, his gaze serious. "You've glimpsed the power but not yet realized the cost of pulling its threads?" "I just wanted to make things better," she whispered, feeling tears prickle at the corners of her eyes. Seelan gently placed his hand upon her shoulder. "An honorable goal born from a good heart, but you must first understand the fabric itself before mending its flaws. Come." He led her into a clearing where the leaves formed a sparkling ceiling of emerald and gold, the air humming gently. At the center stood a carved table scattered with ancient scrolls and mysterious tools that gently pulsed with magic. "Time is a powerful river," Kalen explained, tracing symbols upon one parchment. "Though we weave it into threads we believe can be changed, doing so shifts currents downstream in ways unseen. To truly grasp its influence, you must first perceive the past clearly, accept what has already come, and see the interconnectedness of all things." Alia watched closely, determination mingling with anxious doubt. "How can I learn all this when everything I hold dear stands on the brink of destruction?" "By starting small, with your own history," Talon replied, gazing knowingly at the girl before him. "Tell me, what have you been told of your family?" She hesitated, stunned by the unexpected question. The truth was, she'd always felt something missing about her past. "Just that my mother found me near the outskirts of Glimmerwood. I was alone, a tiny babe swaddled in an unfamiliar cloth." Seelan smiled knowingly, nodding slightly. "Your lineage is interwoven tighter with Raelendria's history and fate than you realize. But before you can guide the realm's destiny, you must first understand your own tapestry." He handed her a shimmering strand of yarn, woven of faintly glowing threads. "Take this. It is tethered to your true origin. In unraveling your past clearly, you will learn the strength, skill, and humility necessary to mend our present." Alia accepted it carefully, heart pounding softly with apprehension and newfound hope. "Guide me," she implored earnestly, locking eyes with her mentor. "We begin immediately," Kalen vowed with compassion in his ageless eyes. Around them, the Glimmerwood whispered gently in agreement, the tapestry of fate ready to reveal secrets she could scarcely imagine, preparing her for a journey longer and more profound than she had ever dreamed possible. Nightfall cast velvet shadows throughout the Glimmerwood as Alia sat cross-legged before Kalen beneath the softly luminous canopy. In her trembling hands, she gently held the shimmering thread he had given her. Its glow pulsed softly, comforting yet mysterious. "Clear your mind, Alia," Seelan instructed gently, his voice calm like flowing water. Allow yourself to feel the fabric of time around you. Sense where your thread connects, feel your roots. Breathing deeply, Alia closed her eyes. Images soon flickered through her consciousness, faint shadows at first, then growing clearer. Visions danced across her mind's canvas, an infant's soft cries echoing within the dense foliage, hands weathered with age and grief gently leaving her among flowering shrubbery, a tear streaming down a familiar cheek. Her eyes jolted open, her heart raced, emotions flooding her in overwhelming waves. I saw someone leaving me, she choked out, sadness thickening her voice. They cried as they placed me down, but they still left. Why would they abandon me, Salen? His gentle gaze spoke of understanding and compassion. Not abandonment, but protection, he explained patiently. Your birth parents, your lineage, hold secrets that others sought desperately. You were hidden to shield you from great danger. She sat quietly, digesting Kalen's explanation, her heart heavy with relief, sadness, and curiosity. What secrets? She asked softly, her voice barely audible. In ancient times, Selen began solemnly, Raelendria was protected and guided by powerful weavers called the Chrono Wardens. They wielded looms like yours effortlessly, gently balancing time to protect the realm. Yet power invites ambition. Dark weavers rose, hoping to conquer or destroy. Conflict erupted. Many wardens lost their lives safeguarding the weave and its balance. Only a handful survived, scattering and hiding their lineage from those who sought retribution. Alia sat stunned, feelings of shock mingling with pride and dread within her chest. And you're saying, I come from these wardens? Am I meant to be one? Yes, Salen confirmed softly. Your gifts were no accident. You are a descendant of the original protectors and possess the innate potential others only dream of. A power that our enemies now sense awakening. They'll search for you inevitably. She shivered, a deep chill running along her spine. What must I do? Kalen's face grew firm yet kind. Master your skill with the Chrono Loom. Reclaim its power with humility, wisdom, and fearless discipline. And when you're ready, confront those who would unravel the weave completely. A spark ignited within her spirit, determination flickering to life beside fierce resolve. I'm ready to begin, Kalen, she vowed quietly yet fiercely. I promise that I'll learn everything you can teach me. I'll repair my mistake and honor the sacrifices made by those before me. In answer, Selen stood and laid a warm, firm hand upon her shoulder. Then rise, daughter of the Wardens. Your training begins tonight. As the moon ascended gracefully above, casting its silvery glow into the glade, Alia rose in newfound strength, stepping forward determinedly into her training. The future of Raelendria and her hidden legacy awaiting in silence, ready to unfold. Days blurred into weeks as Alia's rigorous training took root beneath the watchful guidance of Kalen. She sized threads of time in delicate fingers until she began instinctively to feel the potential woven within each strand. Although exhausted, her body ached less with each new sunrise, replaced by a strengthening resolve. Yet beneath her urgency lingered persistent questions, tormenting uncertainties. One evening, after another arduous training session, she hesitated while coiling strands neatly upon the ancient loom, glancing sideways toward Kalen. What troubles you, child? Kalen asked softly, sensing her hesitation. Alia drew a breath, courage flaring in her chest. When will I know if I'm truly ready? Every day my village suffers further. Each second I delay feels unbearable. Kalen nodded solemnly. Patience is the hardest mastery, he acknowledged gently. But I sense your day draws nearer. Tomorrow you shall embark further into Raelendria, beyond the Glimmerwood, to confront your first true test. It is there you'll prove yourself to the loom and yourself. She swallowed, determination shimmering in her tired gaze. Tell me how, she pleaded. Within the Stormspire Mountains stands the ruined city of Caitharos, Selen explained, eyes distant and somber. Once it flourished, guarded by wardens who protected the loom's secrets. When the Warden Wars erupted, magic untamed tore it apart. The city now exists in dangerous chaos, lost echoes, rogue threads of time. There lies your first task, retrieve the frayed strand at its heart and restore balance to the city's ruin. I'll do it, Alia promised fiercely, though doubt whispered quietly in the corner of her heart. But why must I journey alone? Can you not accompany me? A gentle sadness crossed his ancient features. This journey must be yours. The loom weaves your path, not mine. But do not fear, Alia. You have the strength. Trust in yourself and your heritage. Morning came swiftly. Sunlight filtering through leaves turned gold with the first breath of autumn. Kaelin stood quietly, watching as Aelia prepared carefully for her journey, selecting food and supplies from his shelves. Finally, she faced him, steeling herself yet again. Remember, Kaelin's voice was steady and reassuring. Your power comes not simply from your blood, it resides deeply within your heart and courage. Follow your instincts. I won't forget, Aelia affirmed, clutching her travel sack tightly. And remember. He paused, placing something weighty and cool into her palm, a pendant carved of polished wood, woven through with faintly glowing threads. Take this, a relic from the Chrono Wardens. It will guide you during moments of uncertainty. Aelia's fingers curled around it tightly, her heart swelling with gratitude. Thank you, Salen, for everything. He smiled warmly, eyes softening in empathy. It is you who must be thanked, brave one. Go now. Time grows short. Shouldering her satchel, heart hammering yet steady, Aelia stepped bravely forward from the safety of Glimmerwood toward the foreboding peaks of the distant storm spires. Ahead lay uncertainty, trials, and her first true battle against unbalanced strands of time. The whispers of fate gathered eagerly around her footsteps, the fabric of Raelendria pausing momentarily, watching closely as she moved towards destiny's embrace, her heritage empowering each determined step forward. As Aelia climbed upward toward the intimidating Stormspire Mountains, the late autumn air grew thin and crisp, biting at her cheeks and tugging gently at her long hair. Every step upwards reminded her vividly of Seelan's teachings and the delicate power she was now meant to wield. Her fists tightened around the pendant he entrusted to her. After days of steep climbing through rough, winding trails, she finally reached a ridge overlooking Ktharos. The ruined city sprawled silently below, an eerie monument of twisted stone, its towers broken and rent by forces unknown, empty windows gazing mournfully back at her. Taking a deep, calming breath, Aelia descended into the city's eerie silence with cautious steps. Her ears strained at every subtle echo and whispered ghost of lost times. As she moved between crumbling columns and fractured sculptures, the air shimmered slightly. Visions flashed suddenly around her like lightning in darkness, imprinted memories swiftly flickering one after another. What sorcery is this? She gasped softly, startled but forcing her heartbeat to steady. The visions displayed a bustling city filled with smiling families, stern-faced guardians in robes very much like hers, protective weavers carefully tending their looms. She saw laughter and resolve, followed cruelly by flames, fear and desperation, chaos erupting throughout. One particular thread glistened strongly amid the spectral chaos ahead. Aelia followed it, trusting the instincts Seelan had nurtured within her. Through deserted streets she moved resolutely, until reaching the nearly demolished Hall of Weavers, a place where time itself still screamed in silent agony. At the center, a fragmented loom spiraled angrily around a frayed strand of gold and silver, pulsating as though alive with pain. Each gentle heartbeat of the thread sent waves outward, causing ripples in the air. Aelia approached cautiously, aware instinctively of imminent danger. As her fingertips brushed against the fraying thread, a powerful force surged dramatically, throwing her backwards onto cold, uneven stone. "You dare disturb this broken fate?" growled a voice from shadows, echoing fiercely with bitterness. "Show yourself," she called out, voice shaking but resolute. A shadow separated from deeper darkness, coalescing into a tall silhouette with shimmering dark robes and hardened anger pulsing in burning eyes. "You are not welcomed here, trespasser." "I've come to restore balance," she declared defiantly, heart hammering fast. The relic pendant pulsed warmly in her palm, lending her strength. "Who are you?" "Once I was guardian here," he spat bitterly, anguish briefly surfacing beyond the malice. "Until reckless hands like yours, tore time itself apart, you cannot repair what was broken." Drawing strength from her training and resolve, Aelia stood firmly, showing no fear. "Let me help," she implored earnestly. "You must know I meant no harm. Let me correct what I began." He hesitated briefly, bitterness flickering in and out of his hardened gaze. "And risk further damage? No, I've suffered too long to allow more mistakes." Gathering strength and calm within, she raised her relic pendant, its subtle glow growing brighter. "Then I must do what I came to do, with or without your consent." Determined eyes locked onto the chaotic thread at the city's heart. Aelia took one brave step closer, heart prepared to weave courage with compassion, praying silently her newfound skills would overcome her first great test in mending time itself. Time itself seemed frozen within the ruins of Catharos. Tension thickened the air as gazes locked in fierce challenge. Aelia's heartbeat hammered loudly inside her chest, each pulse a reminder of the responsibility she carried. Drawing careful breaths to steady herself, she faced the shadowy guardian's eyes, determination shining bright. "I know your pain," she pleaded earnestly, extending a hand gently forward. Her voice softened, layered with sincere compassion. "Your anger, your loss is justified. Help me weave hope from despair. Let us heal this wound to time." The guardian stared silently, dark eyes clouded with hesitation and old grief. Her sincerity echoed in the silence, calming the anger roiling dangerously within him. "How can you trust she will not worsen what your people already destroyed?" he asked bitterly, his voice trembling. Yet beneath the anger, a faint note of desperate hope emerged. Aelia stepped closer gently. "I am descended from the Wardens. Their legacy taught me humility, wisdom, patience, not pride. Allow me to prove myself, Guardian." He stood silent a long moment before giving a quiet nod. Relinquishing his bitter hold, the Guardian took a weary step back, skepticism still lingering behind softened eyes. "Then begin your work, Weaver, but know my watch remains cautious." Nerves tightened her throat, but she steeled herself for focus. Holding her relic pendant firmly, Aelia reached toward the fraying thread spiraling angrily at the loom's core. The chaotic force screamed resistance along her fingertips, but she steadied herself, closing her eyes briefly. "Guide me, ancestors. May my heart mend as well as my hands," she murmured breathlessly. Her hands moved gently, fingers tracing a delicate, deliberate pattern. At first, nothing seemed to change, yet soon the fabric of energy around her hummed subtly in response. The thread trembled as her careful strokes untangled bitter knots within it, patience and delicate craft weaving slowly but confidently forward. Sweat formed along Aelia's brow, yet resolve allowed no hesitation. She felt every aching knot finally give way beneath patient care, as threads aligned once again into beautiful clarity. The Guardian watched breathlessly, guarded disbelief fading gradually into cautious wonder, as chaotic darkness diminished steadily before their eyes. Finally, the strand quieted into graceful coherence, luminous and calm. The ruin's oppressive weight lifted gently, joyful echoes filling emptiness where sorrow so recently ruled. Aelia stepped back, breathing heavily as relief and joy surged within. Eyes moist with emotion, she turned hopefully toward the Guardian. "You did it," he whispered hoarsely, despair banished from his face, replaced by stunned gratitude. He bowed slowly, humbled deeply. "Forgive my doubt, Weaver, and accept my eternal gratitude." "You owe me no apologies," she replied warmly, heart swelling with happiness. "But join me in restoring what's been broken across Raelendria. Your knowledge would serve our realm greatly." After careful thought, he nodded solemnly, conviction returning. "My name is Edrin. I pledge to aid you, Weaver." Relief blossomed brightly within her chest, courage bolstered by newfound friendship. Together they left the Hall of Weavers, stepping purposefully toward paths unwritten. Hope sparked vividly within each gentle step from ruined shadows toward radiant futures. Their mission now clearer. Raelendria's gentle weave brought one thread closer toward hopeful restoration. Night enveloped the Stormspire foothills gently, starlight glowing softly along winding trails as Aelia and Edrin descended from the peaceful remnants of Tharos. Despite the arduous climb down, a newfound resolve energized Aelia's every step, her confidence strengthened by the presence of her new companion. "Where next, Weaver?" Edrin asked calmly, matching her careful, measured pace. His hardened expression had relaxed slightly, gratitude now replacing previous bitterness. Aelia fingered the glowing pendant thoughtfully. "Salen taught me restoration of balance isn't about repairing just one fractured thread. Raelendria's weave remains fragile, damaged deeply in forgotten corners as well. We must travel onward, healing as we go, until harmony returns fully." They traveled quietly through Raelendria, mending ruptured strands in forgotten settlements, each effort helping Aelia hone and perfect her skills with precision and wisdom. Word of their journey soon spread. Whispers traveled swiftly of the weaver who could sow hope where despair lingered. Then, one crisp morning as they passed beyond the rugged edge of Darkmere Forest, they found themselves confronted by a band of wary-eyed figures emerging from the tree line. "Stay where you are," growled a woman stepping cautiously forward, ebony hair braided neatly, violet eyes keenly assessing them. "We've heard tales of weavers before, promises followed closely by ruin." "Please," Aelia replied calmly, holding out empty hands in reassurance. "Our journey seeks only to repair damage some caused long ago out of recklessness and ignorance. I won't repeat past mistakes. I intend to heal them." The violet eyes regarded her skeptically. "I'm Lyra, and my people carry wounds older than any tale you've heard. Centuries ago, careless manipulation unraveled our lives. Time's scar lingers painfully here still." Edrin stepped forward gently then, voice firm yet empathetic. "The wounds your people carry, I understand your pain, but doubt alone cannot mend anything. Permit us a chance." Lyra hesitated momentarily, eyeing Aelia keenly. "A single opportunity then, Weaver, but know our watchful eyes remain upon you." Aelia nodded respectfully, heart steady beneath nervousness. Following Lyra deeper into the quiet village beyond Darkmere's edge, she sensed immediately the distortion heavy around her. Shadows moved subtly, repeating constantly like echoes caught painfully in perpetual loops. "Time traps," she breathed softly, recognizing the complex loops that confused reality with memory. Kneeling in the village's central circle, she whispered firmly, drawing forth threads faintly glowing beneath her fingertips. Edrin joined beside her slowly, prepared to gently anchor her weaving. Time hung breathlessly suspended as Aelia's fingers wove carefully into twisted shadows. Patient method unraveled layer upon layer of confusion gradually. Soon darkness whispered softer, fading gently until clarity bloomed within the circle once more. Silence lingered briefly after her final careful stitch. Finally, life stirred gently again around them. Villagers stepping curiously, hesitantly beyond their doorways, emerging from phantom past loops they'd relived endlessly. Lyra's gaze softened deeply with astonished gratitude. "You healed our fractured existence," she whispered tearfully. "Forgive my mistrust. You truly bear the wisdom and heart of a great warden." "Forgiveness is unnecessary," smiled Aelia warmly, rising again in renewed strength. Another step forward toward cohesion carved lovingly into the fabric of Raelendria. Yet, even as victory resonated joyfully in her heart, greater darkness began stirring distantly, preparing quietly to test her courage and strength one final, pivotal night ahead. As their journey across Raelendria continued, restoring balance and hope, Aelia could not shake the feeling that something darker loomed just beyond sight. Word of her actions spread rapidly, bringing allies, healing old wounds, but also attracting wary suspicion. They arrived at the outskirts of Raelend just as twilight settled across the familiar land. Her heart clenched painfully at the sight before her. Her village, though still wounded, had begun rebuilding. Yet sadness lingered in many faces she'd known since childhood. Echoes of her mistakes remained evident. From the village center a familiar face emerged. Tomlin, now weary-eyed but hopeful, stepped forward quickly to embrace her. "Aelia, you've returned. It's worse than ever. We need your help desperately." "What happened, Tomlin?" Aelia asked, gripping his arm anxiously. He grimaced painfully. "Time fractures spread after you left. Strange beings emerged, claiming mastery over the loom, seeking to dominate Raelendria's weave completely. We resisted only barely." Fear tightened its grip on her heart. She turned urgently toward Edrin and Lyra, who traveled resolutely beside her. "I will need you both now more than ever." "We stand beside you," Lyra affirmed calmly, determination adding brightness to her violet gaze. "Always," Edrin confirmed quietly, firm resolve etched across his features. Turning again to Tomlin, she nodded solemnly. "Show us exactly where they've taken root." Following closely, they moved swiftly toward Glimmerwood's sacred heart. Once again, Aelia stood upon familiar ground, the chrono loom shimmering ominously with powerful distortions. Around it, shadowy figures moved, dark weavers whose faces and hearts had twisted with ambition. "Stop this madness!" Aelia called desperately, steeling herself as she boldly stepped closer. "Time's weave cannot be dominated. It demands balance. Your power must yield." "Foolish child," sneered the central figure stepping confidently forward. Tall and commanding, darkness swirling like mist around him. Cruelty lurked deep within piercing eyes. "You, a mere apprentice, imagining yourself capable of mastering us? We who suffered centuries because of reckless wardens? Alia's mind suddenly surged with recognition. Echoes from Kaelin's stories surfaced fiercely. Corvin, she whispered bitterly, realizing instantly the identity of the Dark Weaver long thought lost, the most dangerous and power-hungry opponent from the Warden Wars long past. Corvin's eyes narrowed cruelly, twisted smiles playing at his lips. Indeed, forgotten by history, but not by time, waiting patiently, gathering strength. You, descendant of Wardens, cannot repair the damage wrought by your ancestors. You can only surrender to our dominion. Her heart thundered in defiance. I will never yield Raelendria to darkness, she shouted courageously. Beside her, Edrin and Lyra readied themselves fiercely, while Tomlin stood protectively with his people, eyes blazing in defiant unity. Corvin raised his hand, the loom trembling violently beneath his grasp, distortion rippling through reality. But Aelia refused to falter, gripping the pendant tightly, its warmth flooding courage through trembling fingertips. She advanced resolutely. Time chooses no master, she proclaimed solemnly, voice unwavering. Balance will be restored. Energies collided fiercely as they clashed, power pouring from each weaver engaged within fateful confrontation. Raelendria itself trembled, holding breathlessly its destiny upon the brink. A battle not just of strength, but of heart and humanity itself, poised gracefully yet perilously upon fragile entwined threads, awaiting a final decisive outcome. The clash between Aelia and Corvin rippled through the fabric of time itself, colliding waves of energy illuminating the sacred grove. The Chrono Loom vibrated desperately, threads thrashing wildly as reality began buckling beneath the tumultuous battle. You cannot control this chaos! Aelia shouted above the storm, determination giving strength to her words. Weaving time requires humility, respect, not the hunger for domination. Fool, snarled Corvin, eyes burning fiercely. Shadows twisted tighter, darkness struggling to overcome Aelia's pure, shining threads. Power must belong to those who dare seize it. Sweat streaked down her face, weariness gnawed at her bones. Yet inside Aelia felt an unwavering strength she had long nurtured. A strength built from the lessons of her lineage and bonds forged during her journey. She glanced behind her briefly, fortified by every face determinedly standing their ground. Edrin's quiet bravery, Lyra's fierce loyalty, Tomlin's unwavering trust. Drawing deeply from their collective hope, she turned back with renewed resolve. Patiently, gracefully, she wove into the magnificent storm, each careful movement calming chaos incrementally, guiding the threads gently toward balance. You're stronger than you know, Warden. Kaelin's gentle voice echoed suddenly inside her heart, giving courage fresh wings. Time itself chose wisely in guiding you to this moment. Trust your heart. Gripping Sealan's pendant firmly, heart aflame with newfound certainty, Aelia pierced through Corvin's darkness decisively. Threads of luminous harmony danced from her fingertips, caressing jarring disorder until equilibrium returned softly yet resolutely to the loom. Corvin cried desperately in defiance, shadows unraveling around him until nothing remained except bitter impotence upon his defeated face. Quietly, peacefully, he collapsed onto trembling knees. Aelia approached compassionately amid newfound calmness, voice gentle yet firm. It isn't too late for redemption, Corvin, she whispered earnestly. He gazed toward her uncertainly, eyes dampening with regret held long captive. I've caused too much harm. We are all imperfect threads, she affirmed softly, offering a hand encouragingly. Yet each thread possesses potential for restoration within Raelendria's weave. Choose now to mend what bitterness unraveled. Slowly, hesitantly, Corvin finally accepted redemption's offered grace, rising gently alongside her, his heart humbled anew. Around them reigned quiet awe. Villagers approached cautiously from shelter, faces illuminated joyously beneath hope reborn. Tomlin, Edrin, Lyra, and Kaelin himself, stepping warmly forward from within gentle shadows, surrounded her proudly. You have done well, daughter of Wardens, Kaelin murmured tenderly, pride flowing openly within wise eyes. Guided always by your wisdom, she smiled gratefully. Yet even upon victory's gentle heels, responsibility reminded her seriously. Her destiny stretched continuously, offering to mend deeper fractures remaining hidden across realms yet unexplored. She faced gathered companions resolutely, hope glittering passionately anew. Today marks not our journey's conclusion, but merely a profound beginning, she announced firmly, determination resonating deeply within her voice. Time's weave requires ceaseless guardians. Let us serve humbly and kindly. Within gentle harmony, muted whispers of Raelendria's tapestry stirred approvingly. Threads infinitely entwined again lovingly beneath steady hands guiding destiny's unfolding future. In Alia's unwavering heart surged clear purpose, the loom calling softly once more, patiently awaiting her careful, skillful touch.